All right, let's just dive right into this explainer and take a really hard look at something we all think about, but honestly, we rarely get right. We're talking about building long-term wealth. Society is constantly feeding us a very specific image of success. We're bombarded every single day with messaging about what wealth is supposedly supposed to look like. But when we actually dig into behavioral psychology and landmark financial research, the real blueprint for wealth, it is surprisingly different from the illusion we're constantly sold. So today, we're going to look at the cold hard facts from those landmark studies to uncover how financial independence is actually built.
So, I want you to think about this for a second. What does a millionaire actually look like to you? I mean, we usually picture the yachts, the mega mansions, endless luxury vacations, and those VIP lifestyles we see every time we scroll through social media. But the comprehensive wealth data reveals this massive disconnect. The people who actually hold the most wealth rarely look anything like the rich characters we build up in our heads. The reality of a typical millionaire's daily life is completely, totally at odds with our baseline assumptions.
And there's a really core tension here between being rich and being truly wealthy. Being rich is often just about current income, right? It's spending heavily to show off that income with flashy cars and designer brands. It's loud and it's highly visible. True wealth, however, is quiet. It's the modest home, it's the reliable 10-year-old car, and a high asset portfolio just quietly tucked away in savings and investments. Being wealthy actually means holding on to your money rather than using it to broadcast a lifestyle to everyone else. Okay, moving into section 1, the great wealth illusion.
Now, why does the janitor often retire richer than the surgeon? I know, it sounds like a riddle, right? How on earth could a humble janitor making minimum wage outpace a top-tier medical professional in net worth? But the crazy thing is, it happens in the real world all the time. Take Ronald Reed, for example. He was a real-life janitor and gas station attendant who quietly amassed an $8 million fortune. You see, a massive salary is easily destroyed if it's just constantly drained to fund a high-consumption lifestyle. That surgeon might earn 10 times more, but if they spend 11 times more just to keep up appearances, they are barely treading water. Meanwhile, quiet, consistent discipline slowly builds an absolute empire.
The data systematically proves that the typical millionaire basically blends right into the background of ordinary frugal living. High income absolutely does not guarantee high wealth. In fact, flashy spending heavily correlates with high stress and crippling debt. Real wealth is entirely invisible to the naked eye because it's sitting in retirement accounts and index funds, not parked out in the driveway. The true millionaire next door is likely driving a used car and actively avoiding all that pressure to look wealthy. Which brings us to section 2, behavior beats financial math. The crucial point here is that financial success isn't a hard science. You really don't need a PhD in advanced mathematics to build a fortune. As Morgan Housel points out, doing well with money has a little to do with how smart you are, and a whole lot to do with how you behave. It is overwhelmingly a soft skill. It relies on discipline, patience, and, maybe most importantly, managing your own ego. When we let ego dictate our spending, buying things just to impress people we might not even like, we actively sabotage our own financial freedom. The math of investing is actually pretty simple. It's the behavioral restraint that trips most of us up. So to transition from just having the right mindset to the actual mechanics of it, we have to completely flip our definition of wealth. Wealth is simply the financial assets that haven't yet been converted into the stuff you see. It's the money you literally don't spend on the fancy watches, the new cars, or the first-class upgrades. It's the unspent potential that gives you options, flexibility, and freedom in your future. If you spend money just to show people how much money you have, you quite literally end up with less money.
All right, let's dive into section 3, assets over appearances. This is where we have to look really closely at how our money flows. Every single dollar that gets put into depreciating cars, oversized mortgages, or luxury goods is a dollar that is actively losing value over time. Those are liabilities. True assets, on the other hand, are things like broad market index funds, real estate, and compound interest accounts. They are these boring, quiet little engines that go to work for you while you're fast asleep. The entire game of building net worth is simply taking your capital away from appearances and moving it into those productive assets. Look, you simply cannot work enough hours in the day to become incredibly wealthy. There's a hard ceiling on your time. Global financial data, including reports from the World Bank, consistently show that long-term wealth correlates strictly with asset ownership, not just wage growth. Relying solely on a paycheck just keeps you stuck on a treadmill. True security means completely decoupling your time from your earnings. Your money has to work so you don't have to, and you achieve that by relentlessly acquiring compounding assets instead of piling on consumer debt.
Moving right along to section 4, the compound interest engine.
Okay, let's talk about the absolute magic of financial mechanics. Let's say you invest just $100 a month at an average 8% return. After 10 years, you've put in $12,000 and you've gained about $6,000 in interest. That's a nice start. But jump ahead to year 30. You've only put $36,000 out of your own pocket, but your total balance is nearly $150,000. Over $113,000 of that is pure, invisible compound growth. The invisible force of time is doing nearly all the heavy lifting for you, accelerating your money at a rate that plain old saving could literally never match.
And because of that, the cost of waiting is just staggering. If you start investing at age 25, your portfolio has decades to snowball, growing into this massive safety net by the time you hit retirement. But if you simply wait until age 35 to start, even if you save the exact same monthly amount, your end result is cut by more than half. Waiting just 10 short years forces you to work twice as hard for a fraction of the results. Time is without a doubt your greatest financial asset, and every single day you wait is a missed opportunity. You know, the financial industry makes billions of dollars by making you feel like investing is incredibly complicated. They want you confused, so you buy these expensive, actively managed products with a bunch of hidden fees. But as J.L. Collins points out, complex investments exist only to profit the people who create and sell them. Building wealth is fundamentally simple. You do not need to pick individual winning stocks, and you definitely don't need to time the market. You just need to own a small, low-cost piece of the entire growing economy and let it ride. Complexity is totally the enemy of execution here.
Let's pull this all together in Section 5, your simple wealth blueprint.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from this explainer, these 3 sequential steps are the undisputed, scientifically backed blueprint for escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck cycle. Step 1, live below your means. You have to manage your ego, ignore the pressure to look rich, and generate a cash surplus. Step 2, take that surplus and buy simple, income-producing assets. Turn your liabilities into productive tools. And finally, Step 3, get out of your own way. Just let time and compound interest take over. It isn't flashy, it isn't glamorous, but it works every single time. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with this one thought. When you look at your next paycheck, or, right when you're about to click buy on that next major purchase, ask yourself this one provocative question. Are you buying stuff, or are you buying freedom? Because the choice you make right in that exact moment, that is the choice that determines your entire financial future. Choose wisely.